Okay, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are, everyone. Today we're going to talk about a fundamental concept in programming, variables in Python. If you are just starting your journey in coding, understanding variables is crucial as they are the building blocks of any program. So let's dive in. First, let me create a file so that we can learn along. So let's create a file called variables.py. Okay, so in simple terms, what is a variable? A variable is like a container that holds data. You can think of this as a box or a label box where you can store different type of information like numbers, text, or even list of items. In Python, you create variable by simply assigning a value to it. There's no need to declare the type of a variable beforehand. Python is smart enough to figure it out for you. For example, you can create a variable called x. And assign a value of 10. Okay, like this. So here x is the name of a variable. So x is the name of a variable. By the way, hashtag is a start of a comment. So everything you see highlighted in different color is a comment. If you later decide that x should represent something else, like 20, you can simply reassign it by saying x is equals to 20. Now x is equals to 20. Okay, and that x will hold the value of 20. Let's talk about variable naming. In Python, variables are a few important in Python, naming variables are following very few simple important rules. First, variable must name must start with a letter or an underscore, not a number. For example, you can start a variable with my name, my variable, that is a valid variable. Okay, but my variable is not allowed. You see, it's changing the color. So the IDE is complaining because you cannot start a variable with a number. Also, variable names are case sensitive. So name with a capital N is different from name with a lowercase n. Okay, so these are two different variables. Okay, so it's also good practice to avoid using Python's reserved words like if, else, or for. So you cannot say for is equals to uh, 25, something like that. 4 is a reserved word. So too, if you cannot say if is 50, or you cannot say else is true. We cannot say that. You see, ID is complaining right now is because those are the rules that you cannot name a variable with a reserved word. Okay, types of variables. Now, Pythons allow us to store different types of data in variables. You can store integers. You can store integers. You can store, let me add a dollar sign here, pound sign to say we can add different kind. You can store integers, which is, for example, integer is x is equals to 7. You can store string. For example, name is equals to New York. You can store floating points. Okay, floating points. For example, we can have height of maybe 5.7.6. That's a floating point. Or it can store Boolean, true or false. That's say is active, which is true. Okay, so those are basic primitive variables. So we have other variables which are, we call it advanced variables. Okay, advanced variable. So Python also support more complex data type like list. We have list. It can support lists, which you can store collection of items, such as let's put commas. So those are lists, which are, for example, you can have fruits, to have something like apples. Okay, bananas. Okay, you have to put oranges. So this is complex or advanced variable called list. So you can also store dictionaries. We have what we call dictionaries, and we'll go deeper on this on subsequent videos. Okay, this is just for variables. You can even these are key value pairs. Okay, those are dictionary key value pairs. Okay, you can say key value pairs. For example, we can say person, that's a variable, and we can have a key, in this case is name, and the value will be, you put colon, a value will be Julius, for example, and then we can have age as a key, and a value of 45, for example, and then we can have address, email, we can have email, okay, and I can have two. So those are dictionaries. Okay, it has key value. Those are the difference between dictionaries and list. So these variables are extremely useful when you are dealing with more complex data in your program. Okay, let's talk about casting. What is casting? Okay, let's talk about casting. Casting, sometimes you may need to convert the type of data stored in a variable. For instance, if you have a string that represents a number, like num string, if you have a string that represents a number, for example, num string is equals to 100, for example, so you can cast that number to perform, so that you can use to perform arithmetic operation in it. Okay, you can convert it into integer by just saying num string, okay, my number now, my num is equals to, and then you can cast that to be an int of num string. Okay, so that is a way of casting. So you can change. Now you can do whatever you want with num string. My num, you can say is equals to 25. You can do my num result is equals to my num times 45. Okay, so finally, to see the value stored in a variable, you can use the word print. Okay, so if you want to, you can use the word print to see the value of a variable. Okay, so if you do that, you'll be able to see the value of a string, and we can run that, and you can see the value of okay, sorry, let's change that to so what, let me see. Okay, so we cannot use that, as we say we cannot use that, that was an error. So we can run that. So let's run the file. My variable, where is that? We don't have a value of that. 25. Let's see whether we can run that. There you go. So the name my variable will be let me delete that and run again. So you see my the name of, you can print the name. Okay, and you can print multiple values. For example, you can say print that's a method, by the way. That's a method which help you print my results, and then you can do a comma and then do my result, for example, my num result. And if we run that, comment this one, so you can run that and you'll be able to see that that's multiplication of this number 1. Remember, this was num string 100, and then you multiply by 45, that is 4500. Okay, and it will show both the name and the age if you do that. In conclusion, guys, variables are very essential part of programming in Python. They allow you to store, manipulate, and retrieve data efficiently. By understanding how to use variables, you are taking a big step towards becoming a proficient Python programmer. Okay, thank you so much, and I will see you, and happy coding.